For 60 years, they watched us. The Vor theocracy, a holy empire of self-proclaimed gods, saw a primitive world. A planet of warring tribes, mired in chaos and polluting their own home. They judged us. They found us unworthy. They prepared a fleet to deliver their divine, final sentence. But what if the chaos they saw was not weakness, but a crucible? What if our crude technology was just a mask for something else? And when the gods arrive to cleanse our world, what happens when they discover the primitives have been waiting for them all along? When Earth struck back, the Galactic Council was bewildered. Before the judgment begins, subscribe to the channel for the complete historical archive and energize the like button to strengthen our planetary shields. Alright, let's begin the story. Archon Valerius of the Vor theocracy stood on the observation deck of his flagship, the Divine Judgment. The vessel was less a ship and more a floating cathedral of gold and white alloy, its kilometer-long spires piercing the perfect blackness of the void. Before him, suspended in a shimmering holographic field, the blue-green world of the primitives rotated in silence. "So this is the world they call Earth," Valerius said, his voice a low, resonant hum that seemed to vibrate in the very air. His second-in-command, Prelate Kale, shimmered into existence beside him. The Vor did not walk. They teleported short distances, a constant, casual display of their technological and spiritual superiority. "It is, Archon. Our long-range observers have monitored them for 60 of their solar cycles. The final data packet arrived this morning. It is conclusive." Valerius gestured, a flicker of his four-fingered hand, and the data scrolled through the air between them. The footage was grainy, almost laughably crude. It showed bipedal, soft-skinned creatures fighting with fire and metal. Armored vehicles they called tanks crawled across deserts, firing explosive projectiles. Cities were choked with the smog of inefficient industry. Continents were scarred by the borders of competing, primitive tribes they called nations. "They fight with chemical propellants," Valerius mused, a sliver of disgust in his tone. "They worship dust and ephemeral deities whose names are forgotten in a single generation. They poison their own atmosphere and call it progress. They are a spiritual dead end, a chaotic anomaly in a divinely ordered galaxy." "Indeed, Archon," Kale agreed, his form vibrating with pious certainty. "Their souls are unenlightened. They are a blight." The Vor theocracy was an empire built on this absolute belief. They were the chosen instruments of a silent, cosmic order. For millennia, they had traveled the stars, bringing enlightenment to the lesser species they discovered. Those who accepted their divine guidance were uplifted, their chaotic cultures absorbed and perfected into the harmonious whole of the theocracy. Those who resisted were cleansed, their worlds wiped clean of life, a final, merciful act to prevent their chaotic nature from spreading like a disease through the stars. "They have reached the final stage of observation," Valerius declared, his voice taking on the weight of judgment. "They have split the atom. They can reach their own moon. Their chaos now has the potential to spill beyond their world." He turned to Kale, his glowing eyes narrowing. "Prepare the cleansing fleet. 300 vessels of the 7th Holy Armada. It is more than sufficient. But first, as is ordained by the first texts, we shall offer them the grace of a final choice, the chance for peaceful submission." In the central chamber of the United Earth Directorate in Geneva, Secretary General Anya Sharma stared at the message on her primary screen. It had appeared on every communication system on the planet, from military command centers to civilian cell phones, bypassing all firewalls. The language was flawless English, yet the tone was utterly, terrifyingly alien. Arrogant, final, incontrovertible, creatures of Earth. I am Archon Valerius of the Vor theocracy. Your world has been judged and found wanting in the eyes of the divine order. You will surrender your planet, your infrastructure, and your people to our divine guidance. You have one of your rotations to comply. Refusal will result in the cleansing of your world. There will be no further communication. General Ben Carter, commander of Earth's newly for me, top secret defense fleet, slammed a fist on the hardened conference table. The holographic displays around them flickered. Cleansing? Is that what they're calling it? Who the hell do these robed-up zealots think they are? They think they're gods, Ben, Anya said quietly, her eyes still locked on the screen, her face pale. And judging by the energy readings our orbital platforms detected, they have a fleet to back it up. For 3 years, they had known this day might come. 3 years since the Stardust Drifter, a small, unidentified scout ship, had spiraled out of the upper atmosphere and crashed into the vast, frozen expanse of the Siberian wilderness. That single event had changed the course of human history. It was the absolute, undeniable proof. Humanity was not alone. And it had triggered the Prometheus Initiative, a global, clandestine project of unprecedented scale, diverting trillions of dollars and the world's best minds to a single, terrifying purpose: preparing for first contact to go horribly wrong. Anya took a deep, steadying breath. The years of secret planning, the sleepless nights spent in this very bunker, the impossible choices that had led them here, it all came down to this moment. She began to type her response. It was not a plea. It was not a surrender. It was not a threat. It was something the Vor, in all their millennia of conquest, could never have anticipated. Aboard the Divine Judgment, Archon Valerius read the human's reply. He had to read it 3 times before the words could assemble themselves into any logical meaning in his enlightened mind. Prelate Kale materialized beside him, his form shimmering with anticipation. Archon, have the primitives submitted to the divine will? Valerius's voice was a dangerous whisper. No, they have sent us a business proposal. He brought the message up on the main holoscreen, the text stark and black against the ambient golden light of the bridge. To Archon Valerius, for Theocracy. From Office of the Secretary General, United Earth Directorate. Your unsolicited proposal for planetary acquisition. Archon Valerius, we have received your message. While we must respectfully decline the terms of surrender outlined in your communication, the United Earth Directorate is prepared to discuss potential resource-sharing agreements and a limited technology exchange framework. We believe a mutually beneficial economic partnership would be preferable to the significant logistical and resource expenditure of hostile action. We have attached our standard preliminary interstellar trade document, Ref. UDITF Draft 1.1, for your review. We look forward to your counteroffer. Valerius stared at the message. He stared at the attached file icon, a small, unassuming symbol that represented an entire volume of legal and economic text. Trade, he finally hissed. His divine authority, his holy mandate to cleanse the unworthy, had been met with paperwork. The fury that filled him was a cold, pure fire. This wasn't just defiance. This was insult. This was the chittering of insects in the face of a god. They mock us, he snarled. They mock the divine order itself. He turned to Kale, his eyes glowing with righteous, terrible fire. The cleansing fleet will depart immediately. There will be no more grace. Their arrogance will be their undoing. We will burn this insolence from their world, and then from the stars themselves. But even as he gave the final, irrevocable order, a small, unsettling thought wormed its way into his mind. It was a dissonant note in the perfect symphony of his faith. Why weren't they afraid? Why would a species facing annihilation respond with such calm, such infuriating, bureaucratic dismissal? What did these primitives know that a god did not? In an emergency session of the Galactic Concord, the loose federation of elder races that tacitly allowed the Vor to police the outer sectors, the news was met with weary resignation. The Vor moved to cleanse another primitive world, said a serpentine delegate of the Slith, its forked tongue tasting the recycled air. It is their way, a regrettable but necessary function of maintaining order. Let them. But an intelligence prelate from the cybernetic Cygnian ascendancy stepped forward, its metallic form gliding silently. There is a complication, it droned, its voice a synthesized monotone that cut through the chamber's languor. The Vor's assessment of the target world, Earth, is catastrophically flawed. The chamber grew quiet. 3 of their years ago, a Cygnian long-range scout ship, the Stardust Drifter, suffered a catastrophic systems failure and crashed on their planet. The Vor are unaware of this. The prelate brought up satellite imagery. One image showed a vast, empty desert in a human territory they called Nevada. The next, taken 3 months after the crash, showed the same desert. But when the prelate overlaid an energy spectrum analysis, the image revealed faint power grids humming beneath the sand, grids that operated on principles that defied known physics. They recovered our technology, the prelate stated. We placed them on a low-priority observation list, assuming it would take them centuries to decode it, if ever. Our projections were incorrect by a factor of 1,000. New data flashed on the screen. The original Cygnian schematic for a gravitic compensator. The Stardust Drifter's compensators had a 70% operational efficiency rating. Human copies, which our deep-range sensors indicate they are now mass-producing in underground facilities, are operating at 98.7% efficiency. They did not just copy our technology. A long, heavy pause filled the chamber. They perfected it. A murmur of disbelief rippled through the delegates. No species had ever improved upon Concord technology on a first attempt. There is more, the prelate continued. We have been reanalyzing the VOR's own surveillance footage of Earth, but applying our own deep spectrum analysis. He played a clip of a human war in a desert. To the VOR, it looked like primitive tanks firing shells at each other. Now, observe in the quantum entanglement spectrum, the prelate said. The image shifted. The tank shells were revealed to be self-guided, microfusion projectiles, each one communicating with its launch vehicle in real time. The tanks themselves were flickering with faint, miniaturized shield grids. The soldiers' radio chatter wasn't radio at all. It was a stream of quantum-entangled data packets, unjammable and instantaneous. Their wars were not conflicts. The prelate droned, its voice sending a chill through the room. They were live-fire field tests. They have been hiding their true capabilities for decades. They knew they were being watched, and they were putting on a performance for our benefit. The slith delegate recoiled, its serpentine form coiling tightly. A species-wide deception? For what purpose? To survive. The prelate concluded, its synthesized voice devoid of emotion, which only made the words more terrifying. They were preparing for the day the gods came knocking. Archon Valerius's cleansing fleet of 300 warships arrived in Earth's orbit. He saw the planet below, seemingly defenseless. No ships rose to meet him. No planetary shield activated. Just the silent, blue-green marble. Their insolence is matched only by their cowardice, he sneered. Target their largest population center. A show of force is all that is required for primitives to understand their place. The primary lances of the divine judgment and its sister ships began to glow, charging with enough power to boil an ocean and scour a continent. Fire. The beams of pure, white energy shot downward and slammed into a shimmering, hexagonal barrier that flickered into existence over the entire planet. It was a shield based on Cygnian technology, but stronger, more stable than any the Concord had ever deployed. The divine energy of the VOR fleet dissipated harmlessly against it, causing the atmosphere beneath to shimmer with beautiful, fleeting auroras. Valerius stared, momentarily stunned into silence. On Earth, in the UED command bunker a kilometer beneath Geneva, General Carter watched the shield energy levels. Holding at 100%. It works. Dr. Reed's theories were right. He looked at Anya Sharma, who stood beside him, her face grim. They've taken the bait. Anya nodded, her knuckles white. Then let's begin the renegotiation. Carter's voice was cold iron as he spoke into the command link. All stations. All platforms. All commands. A pause. Activate the grid. Valerius had no time to process the shield's existence. Alarms, loud and frantic, screamed across his bridge. Archon. Massive energy signatures detected, all over the planet's surface. They are everywhere. On every continent, the ground itself began to move. AST sections of desert slid away. Mountains cracked open on seismic hinges. The very oceans parted to reveal what lay beneath. From these hidden places rose the true defense of Earth. Planetary defense cannons. Railguns, each one the size of a skyscraper. Their electromagnetic accelerators already glowing with a terrifying, blue-white power. Impossible, Kale shrieked, his form flickering with panic. The geological displacement alone, they would have had to build these in secret for decades. The first cannon, from a hidden base in what was once Antarctica, fired. There was no sound. Just a silent, impossibly fast streak of light. A 20-ton tungsten rod, machined to a perfect point and accelerated to 30% the speed of light, punched through a VOR battlecruiser. It didn't explode the ship. It simply erased it, passing through its shields, hull, and divine reactor as if they were nothing more than vapor, continuing on to strike a second cruiser behind it, which vanished in a flash of expanding plasma. 2 capital ships, gone, in less than a second. Then the others fired. A perfectly coordinated, planet-wide volley, calculated to the microsecond. The Vor fleet, so proud and orderly, was thrown into utter chaos as ship after ship was simply deleted from existence. But that was just the beginning. SIR, the sensor officer screamed, his voice breaking. The moon. Their moon is not a moon. On Luna, what had appeared to be lifeless craters were revealed to be immense hangar doors and weapon emplacements. The entire satellite was a fortress, a weaponized monstrosity built in secret. Its surface cracked open, revealing missile silos, energy projectors, and colossal mass drivers that began launching asteroid-sized projectiles at the beleaguered Vor fleet. And then, from the swirling, radioactive storms of Jupiter, from the dark void of the asteroid belt, from hidden docks carved into the ice of Saturn's rings, the united Earth fleet emerged. It was not a few dozen ships. It was thousands. They were ugly, blocky, brutalist things. Flying bricks covered in guns and armor plating. There was no elegance to them, no divine light. Only the cold, hard geometry of pure, unadulterated purpose. A single, calm transmission cut through the chaos, broadcast on all Vor frequencies. Archon Valerius. This is Admiral Ben Carter of the United Earth Defense Fleet. His voice was calm, almost casual, like a man discussing the weather. You were offered a trade agreement. You chose war. We are now renegotiating the terms. Your fleet is trespassing in a declared human defense zone. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Valerius, his enlightened mind shattered by the impossibility of what he was seeing, finally found his voice. It was a screech of pure, undiluted rage. Never. Destroy them. All ships, fire at will. Burn their world. Burn their fleet. The battle for Earth began. The human ships surged forward, pulling maneuvers that defied physics, accelerating at G-forces that should have turned any organic crew into paste. The Vor, with their superior numbers, met them head-on in a storm of plasma and light. It was a slaughter. Human ships, though tough, were being destroyed by the dozen. But for every human ship that died, it took a Vor cruiser with it. They fought with a savage, coordinated fury the Vor had never encountered. And through it all, on every channel, the humans were broadcasting music. Loud, aggressive, rhythmic noise that pounded like a cosmic war drum. What is that abominable sound? Kale demanded, his form trembling. They call it heavy metal, a tactical officer reported, his voice filled with awe and terror. It appears to be a battle hymn. The battle raged for 18 hours. Valerius, his flagship crippled, his fleet of 300 now less than 50, watched as human salvage crews began to emerge from the chaos. They weren't rescuing survivors. They were swarming over the wreckage of his holy vessels, cutting away engines, computers, weapon cores. They were learning, evolving, in real time. An intelligence report flashed on his auxiliary screen, forwarded from the Concorde. Analysis of human industrial capacity complete. They are not building ships. They are printing them. Using self-replicating, automated fabricators reverse-engineered from Signian technology. Their manufacturing capability is not linear. It is exponential. Valerius finally understood. The 60 years of surveillance. The wars. The deception. It was all a prelude. They had been preparing for this day for longer than he could imagine. His communications officer turned to him, his form flickering in and out of existence. Archon, a single human vessel has broken from the main fleet. It's on a course for the Concorde capital. A new schematic appeared on the screen. A sleek, black ship, utterly different from the blocky vessels of the main fleet. It was moving at impossible speeds, a blade of pure darkness. What is it? Valerius whispered. Our analysts believe they have successfully reverse-engineered and perfected our hyperdrive systems from the wreckage of the fleet. Sir, that ship is powered by one of our own drives. The ship's designation appeared on the screen, stark and simple. UES Negotiator. Valerius watched it vanish into a fold of space-time, a blade aimed at the heart of the galaxy. He had come to cleanse a world of primitives who responded to divine judgment with paperwork. Instead, He had unleashed a species that had perfected the art of war, deception, and innovation into a single, terrifying survival strategy. And now, they were coming to collect on their counteroffer.